Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Leaders Hangout. My name is Joshua Chizoma and I will be your host. Today I have three very important people sharing the stage with me and I'll have them introduce themselves. I'll start from my right.
Hi everybody, my name is Victoria Imodo. I am the Vice President-elect, Law Center Association, University of Nigeria.
My name is Ifani Anukwe. I'm the President-elect, University of Nigeria Students Bar Association. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Okay, it's nice to be back again. I'm Margaret Arop, co-founder and president of the Greener Picture.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you for being here. So today we are taking on a very important topic as it relates to student politicking and then politicking generally. We are looking at the subject of Godfatherism. Thankfully, we have two individuals here who have gone through the rigors of electioneering and emerged victorious. So we will be drawing from their wealth of wisdom. However, as the school is a microcosm of the society, we have no doubt that you will also be learning from what we will be sharing today. So I will want to start with you, Margaret. What do you understand by the subject of Godfatherism and who is a godfather?
Okay, who is a godfather? Okay, I think in this context, a godfather is someone who operates in the line of politics and leadership, especially here in Nigeria. Okay. So a godfather can be seen as a person who directly or indirectly affects the outcome of an election. That means, using his money or any form of whatever it takes basically to make sure that his preferred candidate gets into the particular position he wants. So, I think the sad part could be that the godfather doesn't really take into consideration the leadership ability of the selected candidates. But, bringing it down now to student politics, I think a godfather would be someone who has held the position before. That's SUG levels, faculty levels, department, even class rep. He has either held the position before or he's well connected to the people or to the person who holds the position now or held it before. So he could be someone who's affluent, someone who's popular, someone who is a social media influencer, someone who's handsome or beautiful. I think I could point out that they are also godmothers.
All right.
If you look at the power dynamics in politics today, you would see a lot of godmothers. So I think the features though affect both of them.
All right, thank you very much for that clarification, Margaret. And I'll be going over to you, Ifeanyi. Do you think it is possible for someone to run for a political office, especially a major political office, without a godfather?
Thank you, Josh. I actually think it's possible for someone to actually run for a major political office without having a godfather. Because people get godfathers because there are certain factors that they derive from being godsons or goddaughters to these godfathers. So where a candidate is able to get those factors by himself, he would have to bypass the need of having a godfather. So usually the causes or things that move people towards having godfathers is the need to actually have grassroots influence. Okay. So we don't have grassroots influence. We try to get someone that has grassroots influence. And due to the nature of elections are expensive, so they cost money. So when you don't have the money to sponsor yourself, you look for someone that has the money or the resources or the connections to get you those funds you need to actually contest in elections. And that's why people go for godfathers. Or when you need muscle or manpower to actually drive your campaign, actually look for persons that have this. So where someone is able to get all this for himself, person can actually do well in an election and actually win without having a godfather.
All right. Thank you very much for that. That's pretty interesting. And I'll be coming over to you, Victoria, because you recently just won an election yourself. So what do you think? Do you agree with Ifeanyi that it's possible to run for office without a godfather?
No, I don't. Okay. In all sincerity, I would say it's not possible to run an election without a godfather, because the concept of godfatherism is like someone who is more experienced, who kind of shows you the way. And there's a man, Jibril Ibrahim, he literally says you can't remove godfatherism from politics. Okay. And that's because in politics you need someone that will show you the way, someone who will sponsor you, not just financially, but someone who invests their time and show you how it's done. And then drawing from what Margaret said the other time, the godfather could be someone who is in government or someone who knows present government administration. So if it's someone who is in government, right, the person kind of tells you this is how I did it during my administration, this is how you should go. But when it comes to the whole concept or general idea behind Godfather, people believe that when you have a Godfather, it means when you get into power, you have to give back to your Godfather. Yeah. So the only thing we have to make a distinction is the extent or the level of influence we give these our godfathers in quotes by the time they have pushed us into those political offices.
All right, all right. I like to jump in, and thank you very much for that. So, Margaret, over to you. So, Victoria has mentioned a very important point: the influence, the level, extent of the influence of godfathers. So, what do you think should be the extent of a godfather's influence over the subsequent administration of the godson?
Okay, thank you, Josh. I think using a proper an analogy to describe the role of the Godfather, he's like a shadow. The people do not see him directly, but they see the workings, through his shadow. So I believe after the election is over and concluded, and hopefully it turns out that his prepared candidate gets into the position, I feel he should trust the judgment of the candidates he selected, and do not try to influence the policies, do not try to influence any decision whatsoever of that's be taken by the candidate he selected. So I think his extent should just be in the shadows.
All right, be in the shadows and remain in the shadows. Okay, thank you very much. So over to you, Ifeanyi. You think it's possible to run for political offices without having a godfather? So what do you think should be the alternative for someone who does not have a godfather? How do they get the same influence that a person who has a godfather acquires?
Okay, say you don't want to have a godfather, because I actually believe it's actually possible for you to run a successful election without having a godfather. You have to get those things ordinarily. People that are looking for godfathers go to them for. So where you need grassroots influence, it's left for you to start as early as possible to actually reach out to those persons, the grassroots, the individual persons, to actually try to get them to key into your campaign. And it's not a one-day job, because the mistake people make is that they come at the nick of time and want to reach as many persons as possible. So that also brings me to another point: the need to climb the ladder. You see persons running for political offices that just come from the grassroots themselves and want to aim for very high political positions. So they now go to persons that are already gotten to that level to try and pull them up. So where you yourself gradually climb the ladder, that removes the need for you to actually have a godfather. And by climbing the ladder, I mean like holding smaller positions which build up into bigger positions until eventually it gets to contest for those major political offices, and therefore have to bypass the need for a godfather, because you yourself, quote unquote, can actually be seen as a godfather. So you don't need someone to actually pull you up, because you yourself are doing the pulling. So the alternative is to build your grassroots reach and actually climb the ladder of politics.
All right, thank you very much. And to wrap it up, Victoria, you believe that we all need godfathers. We all need godfathers. So what do you think are the merits and demerits of having a godfather?
Okay, so I'm going to begin with the demerits, so I can build on I can establish the popular concept in the minds of all of people. And so people believe that when you bring the godfather into the picture, they expect you to carry the government funds and reimburse him, because invested this time and resources in you. And so that's one of the disadvantages. People tend to abuse the power that they have gotten in the name of turning back to the godfather. And then there's lack of accountability, because just like Margaret had pointed out, it's like shadowing, right? And so you have a shadow, you have a real person. You don't know who to hold accountable if there's a problem. And then this person that is shadowing is putting a lot of influence on this political candidate they have set out for the masses to follow. And so the masses, they don't have who to turn to, because they don't know if they should hold the person they put in power, or they should hold the so-called godfather that put the person in power. And so when it comes to the merits, there are a lot of benefits that comes from it. Like it's almost like mentoring someone who is showing you the way. And so it kind of helps the present administration to know how to go on with their own administration. It eradicates political apathy, because a lot of people want to get involved and okay, this influential person, this person is adding to my life, and then a lot of people come into the picture. So it increases political participation of both those that are running for that position and those in the general public, and then you have certain kind of guidance throughout your administration. So these are the benefits as well as the demerits of godfatherism.
All right, thank you very, very much. So to wrap it up, I'll just borrow from what Victoria has said. Godfatherism is a lot like mentorship, and we all need mentors because mentors make available to us the resources, the network, the influence that we need to go on in life. It just becomes problematic when we become puppets to these mentors and these godfathers. So what we take home from this is that as individuals that we begin to deliberately try to mentor people under us and not try to reap any benefits from them or try to unduly influence their governments. And that brings us to a close of today's show. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to us. We hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.